Well, hello. So I've been doing some fun research. Yes, I'm in the car, parent pickup line, you know how mommy life goes. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do when you have time, and I am kid-free right now. So I'm going to record this video and post it later for y'all. But I've been doing all this research. I said that I had ordered all the makeup and the makeup brushes and things like that. And I've been doing a lot of research on these chemicals that everybody talks about that's in, 90% of makeup and things like that. And the first one that I started to research was parabens. Now, I think the paraben-free bandwagon, that started a little while ago. I remember first hearing about that, probably before my daughter was born or when she was young. So maybe 10, 11 years ago. I remember I was working for one of my friends who's an acupuncturist, and she was always very natural, which is probably why I'm so drawn to being natural, because I worked for her for like 11 years. I worked for her off and on for a really long time, since I was 17, and I'm not 17 anymore. So I worked for her for a really long time, and I remember that she used to order some different natural brands of shampoos and conditioners because they're paraben free, and they're also sulfate free, but we'll go over sulfates on a different video. And I remember thinking, okay, what's the big deal about parabens? But I trusted her, and usually when she told me to avoid something, I avoided it, and I had no issues, or it was good, or anytime I changed something up, usually she was right. So I started using paraben-free and sulfate-free shampoos about 10 years ago. And for anybody who knows, when you have a sulfate-free shampoo, it's like a no poo-poo. And so I haven't really used anything that lathered in a long time. So switching to the Young Living products wasn't a big deal for me. I know some other people have had some issues, but for me, I haven't been using paraben shampoos or things like that for a long time. Well, I've never been a big makeup wearer. Well, that's a lie. I wore makeup a lot in junior high and high school. I'm sure it was all sorts of crazy chemicals in it. But lately, and since I had my kids, I don't wear that much makeup. And when I do, I always wore a mineral makeup. One that has parabens in it, but I didn't know, because I thought, oh, it's a mineral makeup, it's safer. I never really did my research, didn't think anything of it. I've done research on so many other things. And when I found oils was when I was dealing with Jake and his extreme skin issues and things like that. So I've started to question things. Well, I cut everything out that had chemicals, and I've just used Young Living stuff. So I've been, all these free everything for so long that I didn't really think much about it until I started seeing all my friends do these like makeup videos, and they're talking about this makeup. And then, we got Savvy Minerals, and they talked about how it's free of parabens and bismuth and phthalates and all this fun stuff. And I'm like, okay, so what's the big deal with it? Well, as my daughter's gotten older, and she's now almost 12, going into 7th grade, makeup's become big. And I don't really want her using any of the bad stuff. But, I didn't realize how expensive makeup is, period, let alone natural makeup. I can't even believe women spend hundreds of dollars on makeup every month. Like, the thought blows my mind. But as I've started to research, I'm understanding now that they're spending a ton of money on makeup that is really, really, really bad for them. So the Savvy Minerals really isn't badly priced. I got majority of it with my points. So really I just paid for shipping. But, even the prices are comparable to these other brands that are full of chemicals. So I started researching, and the first thing everybody talks about is paraben free. I don't know what the heck parabens are. Well, I didn't. So I started researching, and let me tell you, it's a little freaky. But for those of you that don't know what parabens are, Parabens are actually chemicals developed in the 1950s that are added to products to stop the growth of fungus, bacteria, and other potentially damaging microbes. So it's a type of preservative, basically, because it keeps that stuff, or an antimicrobial or an anti-fungus or anti-whatever, to keep it from growing. They're found in shampoos, conditioners, lotions, facial products, toothpaste, deodorants, and makeup. Basically, 90% of beauty products that are found in grocery stores, Walmart, things like that, contain a measurable amount of parabens. Crazy, huh? Right? Because we've been knowing about this paraben-free lifestyle for over 10 years now. But they're still out there because I guess people don't research it and they don't know. Like, I didn't know, but I guess I'm a little more trusting in the natural world of when someone says something's bad, I tend to avoid it. Maybe that means I'm a bandwagoner. I don't know. But I'm glad now that I've avoided it. So why are they so bad, right? What is the big deal? Well, there's 4 main reasons why you should avoid parabens. The first, and probably one of the scariest, is that it's an endocrine disruptor. So what's an endocrine disruptor? Well, for parabens, it's actually an effect that is linked to the increased risk of breast cancer, which as a woman in this day and age is kind of scary because breast cancer is so prevalent. It's like, I mean, I know so many people that have had it, and it's crazy as to how prevalent it is now, but it makes sense if it's 90% of our products. Anyway, so basically parabens mimic estrogen by binding to estrogen receptors on cells. So research has shown that the perceived influx of estrogen beyond normal levels can trigger reactions such as an increased breast cell division and the growth of tumors. So what it's doing is it's binding to your cells, basically saying that it's estrogen, and your brain is like, oh my gosh, we have this overload of estrogen, and all of a sudden it starts cell division, and which causes the growth of tumors because it's replicating bad things. So that's a really big deal. Like, that's a huge deal, especially for women. So think about the shampoos and the conditioners and all the makeup and all this stuff that you're putting on your body. And there was a European study that kind of did a little bit of research on whether you could find parabens in breast tissue. And 19 out of the 20 women that were tested showed high measurable amounts of parabens in their breast tissue. Now, that does not mean that that's the proof of the link of breast cancer, but what it does mean is that it does get in your bloodstream, and it does store in places like your breast tissue. A lot of breast cancer starts near your lymph nodes, which is where you're putting your deodorant and all sorts of other things. So think about that. Another really big issue is that it causes developmental and reproductive toxicity, which in layman's terms means it causes early puberty in girls. It can cause testicular enlargement and breast development in young boys. See, everybody's worried about lavender essential oil causing breast development in boys. No, look at your shampoos and your conditioners and your body washes and your deodorants and laundry soap and dish soap and all these things that have parabens in it that you're putting on your body and in your body, and craziness. But anyway, it also can decrease sperm levels in men. It can cause women to have difficulty in getting pregnant, and it also can increase the risk of miscarriage. I do not know anybody right now my age that I'm friends with that has not had fertility issues. I myself included. I have PCOS. So, I don't know if that's a connection, but it makes you think. So another big one, which is one that I deal with a lot for my sons, is allergies, is rashes, breakouts, other skin issues, eczema, things like that. There's a reason why you can't use paraben products on kids that have eczema, because it causes them to break out and flare up. And other people who have skin issues or rashes that won't go away, or they have sensitivity to certain products, things like that. And then one of the things that I've really seen, and this is the last one that it really causes, is an immunotoxicity. which basically means that it's an adverse effects on functioning of both local and systemic immune systems that result from exposure to toxic substances. So basically it lowers your ability to fight common illnesses, issues, colds, flus, etc. But even scarier is there are all sorts of new, unknown, or previously rare autoimmune disorders that have come pretty much out of nowhere. Like, both my boys have selective IgM deficiency that apparently affect 0.03% of the world's population, yet both my boys have it. It could be a genetic thing. It could not be. It could be something that I've been putting on my body for all these years and it affected my eggs and they have it, or who knows. Them, I've, reversed a lot of the effects by doing natural stuff, but I see every day on my Facebook feed and on my news feed people who are sick, who are constantly going to the doctor, who have no clue what's going on. Doctors telling them they don't know. They're sent from doctor to doctor to doctor. It's probably an autoimmune disorder. It could be this one. We don't know. It's an unknown autoimmune disorder. It's a super rare one that suddenly all the people on my Facebook have. But anyway, so many people are sick and doctors really have no clue what's wrong with them. But what I've noticed is a lot of people that are sick, at least in my news feed, there are a lot of women that wear a lot of makeup, use a lot of smell good products, things that contain parabens, things that contain fragrances. That's going to be what I'm probably going to talk about tomorrow, is artificial fragrances, because you'll find a lot of products that are paraben free and phthalate free and sulfate free, but they're still not good for you because they have artificial fragrances in them. And that's something that sets Young Living apart, is that we don't use artificial fragrances because we use pure essential oils. And by that I mean our essential oils are not adulterated. So even if it's a natural product that uses essential oils, if you don't know where those essential oils came from, it could be just as dangerous as an artificial fragrance. It's probably a little better, but still you don't know. But anyway, that's kind of what parabens are, and it makes me think, wow, I'm definitely not going to buy makeup or beauty products for my daughter with parabens, and definitely not my sons. I mean, I can't buy any of that anyway because of their skin issues, but really for my daughter it was a little scary, because she's 12 and starting to show signs of puberty, and for me that seems really early. I may have been a late bloomer, but I know that it's getting younger and younger. I know some people are saying it starts at the age of 8 now, which is crazy. And that has to do with a lot of our growth hormones in our foods, and apparently our beauty products that we're putting on every single day in our hair, on our face, on our skin, and lotions. And I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, that's what parabens are. So if you didn't know what parabens are, you do now. Now you know why you should avoid them. And I will talk to y'all tomorrow about fragrances and how dangerous those are. And after I get done with telling you all about these fun, awesome, gross chemicals that are in our stuff, I'm going to start teaching you about some awesome alternatives and things to replace those with, and how amazing they are, and how you're not going to miss the stuff at all. Like, really, I don't miss it. I really don't. There may be like 1 or 2 products that I miss, and that's just because I haven't found an alternative yet and I just refuse to use them. Some people still use them until they have a alternative. One for me is hairspray and gel, but I don't use those because I don't need them. I use my hair oil and my paraben free conditioners. And I haven't tried any of the DIY stuff, which I probably should, but I am going to get off of here, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow, and we'll cover some fragrances, and I'll probably go over a couple of like the phthalates and the bismuth, so the things that don't take too long. I was really surprised as to how much stuff I found on parabens. So I'll catch y'all tomorrow.